This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stockbox interview. Hello and welcome back to Research Talks on Stockbox with Alan Green. And Alan, I can't believe it's Friday. This week has gone pretty fast for me. I was a little bit jealous with some of the people I was speaking to in the week in Ireland. They were telling me it was a beautiful day and I had terrible weather. But I maybe have the nice Irish weather coming over because it's a beautiful winter sunny day. What's it like with you?
It started off very much the same. There's a bit of cloud in the sky, but yeah, we got. I'm sitting in the office at the front of the house, looking out, and I'm seeing blue sky and I'm seeing cloud, but certainly bright start of the day. Very cold, of course, lots of frost, but yeah, give me cold and crisp any day of the week.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? To have these sort of crispy, cool winter days. They're always fun times.
They are, but never mind. The fact is that Friday's come around again. We're at the end of January already. Where's the month gone?
It always happens, I think, in January. You're amazed at how quickly January flies by, and yeah, here we are, unbelievably. But it is what it is. So there we go. So today you want to talk to us about ECR minerals, but also First Class Metals as well, which is the first time we're talking about that company.
Yes, indeed. So starting with First Class Metals, this is, of course, it's not a Power Metal Resources spin-out at all. Its Power Metals have a 36.3% stake in First Class Metals, which gives Power Metal Resources a pre-IPO valuation of just over £1 million. But First Class Metals have a package of interests in Canada, specifically in the Schreiber, the Schreiber Hemlock, or the Hemlock-Schreiber greenstone belt, and this is an area that's highly prospective for minerals, for gold, for silver, for copper, for nickel, and bearing in mind that Canada is the second largest country in the world, it's just this huge, vast area, and it's a wilderness crisscrossed by logging tracks and obviously by major routes as you get nearer to civilization. But it's just this huge, vast, untapped mineral reserve, and of course. With that come challenges on the access front and everything else. So securing a license area or license areas within the Schreiber, the Hemlock Schreiber greenstone belt is a real coup for any company. And First Class Metals have amassed a series of licenses across the region. I'm going to talk a bit about the company first of all. The company is, as you rightly say, Mark, in the process of the IPO. It's going on the London Standard list, and although it's coming to market with a valuation of 10 million, of course, listeners will probably be aware now that the benchmark for the Standard list is now 30 million. But First Class Metals beat the cutoff point last year, so they're coming to the market with that. They have raised cash already. They're coming to market, and it's expected to be in February. So we're very, very close to that. And they have, as I say, a very exciting portfolio of assets, some of which have been acquired from Power Metal Resources. So. Onto the Schreiber Hemlock greenstone belt. We've got the area geographically, of course, is on the north shore of Lake Superior, and there are plenty of towns and good road networks along the area. Some are more remote than others, but certainly for First Class Metals, their primary assets are very well positioned. Probably the most famous mine in the area is the Barrick Hemlock Goldmine, which has produced 21 million ounces of gold total production and is still producing today. and geologically, it's sited within the Hemlock shear zone, and the geological folds, the anomalies that exist within the area, make it prime territory for companies engaged in exploration and, of course, in production as well. So I'm going to start with the first asset owned by First Class Metals. So this is it's a package of tenements which is referred to as the North Hemlock tenements, and this includes territory adjacent to Palladium 1, who had the Tycho project, and of course Palladium 1 raised some $50 million in an oversubscribed placing last year, TSX listed company. But within the Tycho project is the Smoke Lake project and Bulldozer project. And there is a very good presentation on the First Class Metals website that will take you through this asset in more detail. There are within the area some 32 cells within a specific cell area called Pickle Lake. And it is Pickle Lake that is the primary target of interest for First Class Metals within this area. So in November last year, First Class Metals announced that a VTEM survey, that's an electromagnetic survey, which has been run in joint venture with Palladium 1, identified a significant multi-line electromagnetic anomaly within the Pickle Lake area, and there's an illustration or an image of that anomaly showing on that particular announcement, which can be picked up from 2nd December, as I say, last year. Also adjacent to the region is the Dotted Lake assets owned by Panther Metals. Of course, we discussed Panther Metals last week, and those are within 500 meters, in fact, of Pickle Lake. And these anomalies that have been identified will be drilled next month as well. So the company's coming to market, with a lot of activity, drilling activity, and certainly the survey undertaken previously by Palladium 1 identified across Smoke Lake very high nickel grades. So that obviously gives great basis and great hope for the First Class Metals team to get in there and to discover what Pickle Lake has to offer. So the Hemlock Gold package of licenses is some 20 kilometers from, as I say, the Barrick gold mine, and it's within the Hemlock trend. There is good access to the site. I mentioned the area is crisscrossed by logging tracks. So if you've got a logging track there, most of the logging tracks are substantial in size, so you can get drilling equipment to the site and get the survey equipment to the site. So it's a decent asset from that standpoint. If we then move south from the North Hemlock project, we then come to the ESSA project, and this is an interesting geological anomaly. A survey undertaken some years back by a company called Kamenak Gold identified a shear zone between two granite batholiths, and this shear zone is full of gravel and alluvial substances, and is believed to be highly prospective for a range of minerals. And of course, like Pickle Lake is prospective for nickel, copper, platinum group metals, and gold. So is ESSA, and it's believed that there could be very decent potential here. There is also excellent road access here. In fact, the road that runs through the area, you can actually see part of the ESSA asset from the road bridge, so that's highly significant. Golden Prospect undertook an electromagnetic survey there 6 years ago, and soil sampling across the area has also indicated a decent mineralized trend. So First Class Metals are expecting to schedule initial prospecting work into that area in 2022 and 23. So later on this year and running to 23. We then come to the McKellar asset, and again, bear in mind that these were purchased as a package from Power Metal. The McKellar asset we're moving now west of the North Hemlock prospects and close to the Generation Mining platinum group metal resource there, which is 8.6 million ounces of palladium, and McKellar again is there's a VMS present there, which is prospective for zinc, copper, and silver. And drill results undertaken there previously have indicated copper grades of 4.7% copper over 1.7 meters, plus traces of rare earths. As I say, given that the Generation Mining the Generation Mining mine is some 10 kilometers away. Magnetic survey scheduled for this year, and again, in terms of access, it's quite hilly and mountainous around here, but there's good access from the south. As I say, we expect to hear more about that as the year moves forward. Moving further to the west, we then come to the Magical assets and Cocoa East assets. So Magical first is this is 9 kilometers west of the Hemlock Barrick gold mine. And the edge of the Magical prospect was discussed and noted by a geologist that's well known to explorers in Canada, a fellow called Bruce McLachlan. And he's very keen on the area, likes the Magical area, and a drilling campaign to the east of the Magical prospect is planned by Barrick Gold. So Barrick Gold are going west from their asset. They're extending the reach of the Hemlock gold mine, and looking towards the west, where they believe there's further prospectivity for gold and for other assets. And of course, this will impact very positively on the Magical assets. One would assume that the company, once that work starts, the company will also start working on the Magical asset too. We then go to much further east, and we go to the Cocoa East and further west, we go to Cocoa East and Enable assets. Cocoa East is an asset that has decent gold and copper grades. Some work is planned for this year. 5 targets have been identified, and prospecting will take place over the summer, obviously when access to the area is a little easier. Enable prospect is adjacent to Panther Metals' Big Bear asset. There are 4 targets there identified, gold and silver. Again, summer 22 prospecting will take place, and both those assets, Cocoa East and Enable, will be worked on together. We then come to the final asset in the package, and we go back east here. So this is east of the North Hemlock asset, and we come to Sugar Cube, where it's believed there is a potential for a north-south mineralized trend. It's sitting close to a greenstone belt there. There is an asset there called the Heart Sugar Zone, which that's to the east of the Sugar Cube asset, and this is sitting on a greenstone belt, and there's a 1.6 million ounce gold resource there. Access there is quite difficult. It's obviously further away from relative civilization, so to speak. So electromagnetic survey is planned at some point, and the data obviously will be processed accordingly. So in summary, we've got the company coming to market next month. Drilling is taking place at North Hemlock. That's where the real focus is for the group initially. $500,000 has been raised for the IPO. It's already funded some works, and that's going to take place in February. As regards the board of the company, there's it's a bit of a who's who of the region. Chief Executive Mark Sale is well known across natural resources and specific. Certainly in precious and base metals. He's worked around the world for various companies, Branco PLC, Landor Resources, Gold Mines of Sardinia, and Patagonia Gold. So he's also a geologist too, and he's very sort of experienced in overseeing preparation of JORC estimates, or in Canada, of course, the 143, 101 reports, and also, a very competent chief exec. Finance Director Dinesh Verma. I know Dinesh personally, have done for a number of years. Dinesh has been in the mining industry for many years. Minco Resources, Northgate Exploration, Westfield Minerals. He's a director with Labrador Iron Mines Holdings, so very active in Canada and a great deal of knowledge, and a very astute finance director, and also a thoroughly nice fellow too. So I've known Dinesh for many years. James Knowles is your executive chairman. He's a corporate professional, long-standing career in the financial sector. Involved in real estate, and he's a long-standing resource company investor and a consultant to those companies. Also on the team is a fellow called Mark Bamber. Mark is like me, and very much engaged in investor relations and helping to articulate the investment stories from small mining groups to institutions and retail investors, and he's very much engaged with the company too. So they put together a very strong board, and I think when this company comes to market next month, if you're lucky enough to participate in the IPO, I think it's going to be a very exciting time. And as we've spoken before previously, Mark, of course, we've got so many mining resource companies. The valuations have come off, and there's a real malaise in the sector. But the longer this goes on, we've seen these big turnarounds before, and I believe there will be a big turnaround, and the valuation of these little companies will bounce back very rapidly indeed.
So coming to the market next month, which market, Alan?
That's the London market. They're listing on the standard.
On the standard.
Standard listing in London. Yeah, they've raised half a million for the IPO, and the IPO sort of will value the company. I think come to market with a valuation of around 10 million, which I think when you package those assets together is excellent value. Yeah,
there's an awful lot of projects there, isn't there? I guess you've read through the prospectus then. Where have they said they've got 500,000? Where have they said perhaps the focus is going to be in the immediate term on some of the projects?
Well, the focus is very much on North Hemlock. So that's the biggest asset, and that's basically just to the northeast of the Barrick Hemlock Goldmine, and there's some very good. If you go to the website and look at the project overview, there are some maps there which really show where they show also the greenstone belt and some of the geological anomalies that exist on the ground there, and the combination of factors that makes this area so fertile for mining companies, because you've got lots of folding, lots of activities that took place millions and millions of years ago that has created this environment. And as you know, Mark, the area is dotted with lakes. It's hundreds, if not thousands, of small lakes, forestry. Territory that's difficult to access, but in the areas where there is good road access, there's great opportunities to develop mines. And of course, a lot of the metals that the area is known for are now coming into their own as sources for the clean clean energy industry, and of course the EV industry, battery technology, and everything else.
Okay, excellent. Well, another chance there perhaps to get exposure to the Hemlock area in Canada. Of course, Panther Metals is one of the favourites that we talk about, who are very active over there, and they've found some interesting things. So yeah, another opportunity perhaps to get exposure to the excitement of that area.
Indeed. Well, I think it's. I think the focus in particular, with the package of assets the group has, is all along that area, whilst Hemlock is the primary focus at the moment because of the work Palladium One have done. They undertook with that electromagnetic survey last year and identified the anomalies in Pickle Lake. There are a lot of other assets within within the Hemlock North license area that are worthy of inspection. And of course, when the team have boots on the ground there, then everything can be looked at in one go. So of course that's all taking place within a few months. But then of course you've got other sort of assets, which will be worked on, such as the Magical asset, which is that's to the west of the Barrick Hemlock gold mine. But Barrick have plans to drill some 200,000 meters west of the existing mine, which actually touches on the edge of the magical area. So clearly, if they've identified an anomaly there, and of course the Canadian geo Bruce McLaughlin is very keen on that region. He believes it holds great potential. That could be the little magical asset that provides the X factor and the zip for the First Class Metals share price.
Okay. Good. Well, thank you very much for that, for introducing First Class Metals. I'll keep an eye on that as it comes to the market next month. So, ECR Minerals, you've got a bit of an update for us, I think, just to tell us what's going on.
Yeah, this is it's been a very difficult year for ECR Minerals. I don't think anyone would deny it. Of course, we lost the chief executive, Craig Brown, in October last year. Very sort of tragically, suddenly left us, and certainly for the chairman, David Tang. I mean, he and Craig have worked together very closely for years. And for the team, it was a hell of a shock. And the team really are now just starting to sort out and get things into place. But it's important because I've interviewed the head geologist, Adam Jones, who's been, an absolute constant at ECR throughout. And I've spoken to him. I spoke to him before Christmas. We interviewed him before Christmas. And of course, we interviewed him a couple of weeks ago. And Adam just said, the thing is, work is on the ground. We've got Mercator Gold running both Creswick and Bayliston projects on the ground there. There's a drilling team. A drilling team in action on the ground, and we're gradually getting these assay results back. But there is a huge backlog because so much work was done last year. There is a backlog of work going through the processing lab that, of course, as soon as it's released, we get that and it goes out to the market. But I know investors both on bulletin boards and the Telegram group and others have been saying how frustrated they are. But the company is moving as quickly as it can, and I'm just going to really go over the latest results that Adam discussed, both from Creswick and from the Bayliston area. Of course, Bayliston consists of a number of assets. We have Cherry Tree, Blue Moon, HR3, and HR3's really been the focus. And of course, if geographically, this is sited within the Victoria within the Victoria goldfields, and of course, listeners will be well aware of that from our previous discussions and talks on the region. You have the Fosterville Goldmine, which is really the world's most profitable gold mine, sited some 30 kilometers west of Bayliston, and about an equal distance to the southwest is the Creswick asset. And Creswick as well is just above Ballarat, which hosts a famous narrow vein gold mine, and that of course has been producing for some years. And in fact, a new territory was acquired by ECR last year, which overlaps into the north of Ballarat, and really follows the main geological anomaly, which is the Dimmock's Main Shale through Creswick, which is believed to host or be the source for alluvial gold. Throughout last year, Adam did a number of interviews, and he talked about. So I'm focusing on Creswick first of all. He talked about the mineral shoots that were visible, sort of through the work that had been done, and the drilling campaign underway that of course is drilling through and drilling at angles to best understand the folding that's under the surface there. So you've obviously got the magnetic picture from the electromag survey. You've got the soil sampling, but then you have to drill and get an understanding of what's under the ground. these mineral shoots, or the veining that is so typical at the Ballarat mine, continues into the Creswick region, and of course. Within the Creswick region, the company acquired a property last year as well at 35 Springmount Lane, which gives them a 45-kilometre area and covers part of the Creswick licence area, and gives them about 16 acres. Also, on that piece of land, there is a small mine, or there is a mine that goes into the side of a hill. So that's obviously being explored at the same time as well. There's also various rock chip samples have been undertaken across the area too, and little bits of gold nugget have been discovered, and that was announced previously. So they know the gold's there, and Adam really best articulated that. He said, if you say drilled a section out of the ground and you took out 1 meter by 100 meters long, within that you probably have about something like 15 to 20 grams per ton. You work out the value within that, that's quite a few million quid. So it's the potential is huge. The way to extract from Creswick is certainly by building a narrow vein gold mine, and that's what both Craig Brown before he died and Adam Jones were talking about last year. If we then move on to the Bayliston area, we've drilling has been undertaken to achieve the same ends at HR3. A series of anomalies have been noted across Maori Reef, Dan Gender's Reef, and Adam mentioned when I interviewed him last time what's referred to as a dilational jog zone. And a dilational jog zone is where you have a shear in the plates on the ground, and of course these jog zones create an opportunity for hydrothermal mineralization, and also it'll squeeze minerals that sort of bubble up through the crust, and it's well known they can contain and be sources for various minerals. And of course, in this case, it's like Fosterville further down the road, it's very much a prospective for gold. We've had some grades out of the ground, of course, both at Creswick and at Bayliston, and the grades certainly indicate that the gold is in the ground there. But again, within the Bayliston area, the company purchased a property last year at 127 the Gambia Rushworth Road, and on the most recent map from the Bayliston assets, you can see the Gambia Rushworth Road is basically running to the south, running to the southwest of the anomalies identified through the drilling work and where the dilational jog zones are. So work is progressing to get a better understanding. I know the team have got a budget in place for work this year. Just really to summarize the investment case for ECR, where it is right now, we've got the company now has three properties in the area. Property prices in the region are going up very rapidly indeed, and it's already believed that the prices paid on the I think they've paid just over 2 million Australian dollars for the property assets, and those assets have certainly risen in value. The company also acquired a property at Bassett Road, based on the fact that the core logging shed and a lot of the administrative activity that took place at Bendigo was in a rented site. They purchased the Bassett Road property at Sebastian to provide accommodation and also to facilitate the building of storage sheds and a logging centre. It's also run off grid too, so it can be powered through solar power or wind power. So it's also very attractive from that standpoint. So the company has still got a lot of money from the 2 million fundraise that was undertaken last year. They have 2 drill rigs now. They of course have the Midas Gold rig, which is hard at work at HR3, and another rig will be arriving soon, ordered from Cortec in China. The company also has assets, of course, elsewhere. It has the Lux exploration assets in northern Queensland. That's Lulworth Cove. It has an additional piece of territory, the Tambo, the Tambo prospect in East Victoria, where there's again historical workings there. It also owns 25% of the Dangley gold project in the Philippines, and that was ratified and confirmed recently following some legal wrangles. An inferred resource of 1.227 million tons at 155 grams per ton. And also, of course, the company is receiving assets still from the sale of the Avoca, Mournbull and Timor assets to Fosterville South. There are royalties due there, as are royalties due from SLM Argentina, net smelter royalties from Argentina. So that brings us up to date, really, on the asset front and the exploration front. But work is continuing. The company said in its most recent announcement that work for the hunt for a new CEO is well underway. So we will hear about that shortly. But of course, in the meantime, last Monday, ECR announced that they had appointed Andrew Scott as non-executive director. Andrew Scott, of course, is very well known for his work in with proactive investors. He's been engaged working with many small cap companies over the years, and assisting them with marketing through proactive. So he's going to be a real asset on the board. And there's a real plan developing now in terms of the way ECR are going to take this forward. And of course, as you would expect, after such a mercurial character as Craig Brown leaving the company in the way he did, or dying sadly in the way he did, the value of the shares have fallen. The company is currently trading at 1.2p, giving it a valuation of 12.2 million. So with the property assets, with the cash in the bank, and the other assets that are on the ground there, I think ECR now offers excellent value, and I do expect to see a recovery this year, and of course, once the new CEO is in place, then onwards and upwards.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that update, Alan. Have you any idea on the appointment and the timing of the new CEO, or is it still just as and when?
It's not as and when. I mean, the hunt is actively underway, but of course David and the team recognise that they have to be able to execute their strategy, and bringing Andrew in, who's got such a strong presence in media and is very well known across financial media channels. That's going to be a very strong asset for the CEO to work with when he comes in. But it's the priority to get the new CEO in place. That's all I know. So they're working as hard as they can, and I would expect them to have someone in place probably by the end of the first quarter.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that update. And yes, you're right. An interesting appointment there with Andrew Scott. Of course, he's very well known, isn't he? He's the face of retail investor interviews from Proactive for many years. So a good asset to add to ECR's board there. But thank you very much, Alan, for giving us there the investment case for both ECR Minerals and First Class Metals.
Thank you, Bob.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.